Yes, yes, and I believe, let's see if that works. It does! I can't believe it. Hello. Hi, everybody. How you doing? I can't believe it. I've been switching my stuff around, trying to get it back up and running the way it was running, and now it's running, and there you go. And my hair is now long enough to almost hide AirPods. So I'm semi-wireless again. And for the record, I have to say, it's kind of flattering, but I have been accused multiple times, mostly by trolls, I suppose, over the last Yeah, probably the last 2 weeks, especially, maybe the last month, because I've been since they lost the election, and I've been putting my hair up in a towel that of wearing a wig. And I would just like to say, for the record, it's time for me to come clean. I have been, I admit, I have been not only wearing a wig, I've been wearing lots of wigs in the shooting of the sexy liberal shows, and pushing all this hair up underneath them has been a lot of work, quite frankly. And technically speaking, if I was going to have a big hair wig on like this, if I was going to full on, hello, Belfast, if I was going to go, poofy big hair like this, I would have added length. I would have gone extensions. I may still. I mean, why not? But this is just it. This is just COVID hair when you DGAF at this point. You know what I mean? Where you're just living with it. And I want to thank you guys for joining us again. I'm slowly but surely kind of putting my system back together after the crash, and so I literally had everything in my desk as far as hardware and a good portion of the hard drives that were hooked up, monitors, microphone, camera, light, everything basically torn apart about 20 minutes ago. So if on some level we just eat crap really badly, my apologies, because that's one of the things. It's good, it's just a part of it. But I will say it looks way better because I broomed out all the unnecessary parts for the most part. For the most part. Am I ever going to get to Starship? The band? Hi, Kenosha. I will have to look for a pic. I see. And hello. What's up, Troy? Hi, Pamela. Hey, Jenny the Cat Whisperer. Hello. Hi, Kenneth. How you guys doing? Thanks, Sarah. I think so, too. Especially since people are accusing me of wearing a wig. And I just, I have to say, I'm flattered that's the way it's gone. It's pretty great. Bring out your Sebastian Bach. It has to be a lot longer for that, because, but jeans is the way. Yeah, well, that's the thing, is that I get accused of Gene Simmons hair for two reasons. One is, if I just let it sit flat, like if I intentionally blow dry it flat and I don't let it Farrah Fawcett its way out naturally because it's wavy, and it's darker than it is in real life on my show because the contrast is turned up so that my green screen works. So, like, I mess with the contrast in there just to make the edges sharper, so there's not this constant flickering around the edges that's aggravating and annoys me about green screen. And until I get two more lights set up in here where I can or a bigger green screen that's further back, I can't cut. I just look darker. Like, this t-shirt isn't even this dark. It's black, but it's not. It's like gray black. But in this, it looks like, jet black. So anyways, that's just the nature of shooting on a budget. TLK Knitting knows what I'm talking about. I appreciate it. So I look pastier than normal. That is absolutely true. Yeah. But I suppose it makes my teeth look whiter. So there we go. This is it. Yeah. So yes, thanks for the follows and the subs. We have a couple of crazy things today. Trump has not had the guts to come out in public, but he did go on Rudy Giuliani's show, called in on his radio show in sort of a panic because he's all aflutter because Tommy Tuberville picked me to go to the Sadie Hawkins dance, and he's very excited about the entire prospect, I can tell you. But he won't be. I don't know why, but he's not in. He just won't appear in person on these things. I mean, he must just look like hell. So anyways, yes, hit the like and subscribe, all that kind of stuff. I will try desperately to work a little harder at being better at promoting the show. I'm terrible at it. By the way, this is me making my attempt. Looped.com, Looped.com. You know the things I do called cameos. There were some issues with Cameo not letting me know cameos were showing up on my phone, and the notifications died, and some of them just died on the vine, and I didn't even know they were there because it didn't tell me. So I arranged for something for the holidays with Looped because I might be doing kind of a stand-up special with them, and it's this interactive. It's more than, like, the cameos are just a one-way video. The Loop things are interactive, and it's kind of like a video. It's like FaceTiming with people. It's really cool. So I thought I'm going to be doing that for the holidays. So looped.com, the link should be up on like later today if they get it up and running. It's pretty fantastic. The stream is not working for who? For whom? For whom is this kind of thing not working? What is happening with this crazy pants? Let me see. Let's go to the live. We go to the live dashboard. It's working. There it is. And thanks for all the craziness that goes on at Facebook. They have to put the extra steps, you jerks. They have to put the extra step for controlling the chat to make it reasonable on a completely different page, like a bunch of jerks. And I don't get why. But in the meantime, we are good to go on Twitch, twitch.tv/Hal Sparks. Hi, come on over. By the way, Periscope is dying. It will become Twitter Live in March. By March, no one will care because no one will be watching my show anymore because we will all be outside nonstop as soon as we've gotten the vaccine. Well, our second dose anyways. And I would like to say that as I start touring again and doing live shows once the world opens up and as everybody's gotten enough of the vaccine, I want to invite all of you to, if I am in town doing stand-up in your town, we will arrange all these regular folks that have been in these things. We're all going to go see a movie together. While I'm in town doing stand-up, it'll have to be a matinee more than likely, simply because of I work at night. But we're all going to go see a movie in a theater and eat popcorn and sit in groups watching movies. That's going to be a part of my stand-up tour, like, all next year. I insist. Is 45 going to fire Pompeo? No, he is not. So I insist. You need to put some reddish highlights in again. I agree. I thought about it recently. Oh, the picture of me and Francis at the Thecthe Liberal situation. Give me 1 second. This is pretty cool. I have to drag it out into the open for this. There it is. Hold on. Dragging this out. Excellent. Closing that. Doing this. Opening it rather large. This is super fun. Check. And I gotta say, we all age. No one can chase that away. But why is my screen gray there? Why did that happen? Can we move this guy a little bit that way? There you go. It drifted a little bit. Oh, when I moved the table. So when I was reaching over. This is from my Second City class at when I was in the Second City troupe in Chicago. Started out in the teen troop. Honest to God, the class shifted around a bunch. But the most consistent people that were in it were, this is Francis from Frangula, right there. See that? This is a guy named Dan Charles, who he was the pizza guy in Home Alone. He was our first breakout in the group. He got cast as the, remember the kid, keep the change, you filthy animal. We're all pointing, I swear to God, and it's terrible, but I remember hanging with this kid, but I don't remember his name. And we were we were all in the same troop. Now, this one, all floated in and out. He was only in one class, but so myself, Dan, Francis, and this guy, Matt Dwyer, we were all in the class regularly. So there's a lot of floating kids in and out, but we were consistent. And Matt taught me a very valuable lesson about ego right here. The photographer wanted us all to point to him, and Matt pointed at himself. And I was like, Matt knows what's up. So Matt and I became really good friends. We moved to LA together. We were going to be roommates and writers. And Matt is now in LA after he moved back to Chicago and then came back. And he's a funny dude. And that's, there you go. So, but we were roommates for 6 months. And then, but yeah, there I am with my hair parted in the middle, as I did. And pretty much, just a bigger version of my head. Yeah. Not, as you do. But I was, 15? 16. 15 or 16, something like that. I don't remember. But yeah. Yeah, this was 80, 85 or 86. Yeah. There you go. I look like what? It is me. That's me right there. Your nose grows and gets bigger and, my head caught up with my ears, I suppose. But that's me. Yep. And that was my kind of regular uniform, t-shirt and members only jacket. Yeah. That was a big win, getting my members only jacket back then. And having a black one was the balance of my dad, wanting me to get a members only jacket and try to fit in with the kids on the North Shore, but me wearing all black and blue. Like my dad used to joke that I dressed like a bruise because it was all black and blue all the time. Nice to see not much has changed, but there you have it. Yeah. So there you go. That's the picture promise from last time that Frangela sent, that Francis specifically sent. Angela was not part of the troop and I didn't know her at the time. But there you go. I don't know why we're pointing at him. It's one of those things like the photographer who was taking that picture said, everybody point at him. Let's see. Cancel the moms. Can you check? I will check myself on the Venmo question. Where is that? Let me do that. Thanks. I did okay in high school considering when I moved to Chicago, I had a peach fuzz mustache and a really heavy accent. It was not a good time. That was rough. That was a rough period. That was, yes, Suzanne Russo. There it is. I'm really sorry about that, Suzanne. I just read your message. I just saw that. Thank you. Bless you. And thank you. The cats are doing well. They are, we are opening up the house to Molly Moon. She doesn't like it yet. She comes out of the room and then she's like, you know what? Never mind. And she skitters back into the bedroom. It's pretty adorable. What kind of an accent? I had a Kentucky accent. I sounded like a cross between Elvis and Butthead. Pretty much. So there you go. The black dude in the picture, I don't remember his name. I hung out with Francis, so I didn't, We were a mix of folks. I'm sure if everybody was like, oh, that was Tim, I'd be like, oh, great, Tim something. But honestly, everybody came and went. And by the way, no Murph, no stars. That's up to him. By the way, the other kids that were in that class, we had like a rotating group of people, but the main stage adults at the time was Bonnie Hunt, Richard Kind, and Dave Pasquazi are the ones that really broke out from that crowd. But we all that class, we all studied with Kerry Goldenberg. So he was my first deadhead friend. He was a total deadhead, a real live deadhead, like stickers all over his place, like totally smoked a lot of weed, just clearly after the fact. I mean, which is a step down from, some of the other folks there who, created the Herald and perhaps died of a heroin overdose. Who can say, But yes, Richard Kind he was fantastic in Stargate. He's just kind of terrific overall. Can we get back to fart stuff? Absolutely. I insist. Okay, so here we go. This is Trump calling into Rudy Giuliani's show. I'm going to see if I can actually hear this.
In welcoming.
Yep, here we go. So, and this is Giuliani and his, partner on the show. And by the way, Rudy Giuliani has a show on WABC in New York City. When he talks about on the other show that we've done bits about, where he's kind of lamenting about the fact that we've done all this work and we're doing all this stuff and he's got this radio show to do. His radio show is on Sunday mornings. I think that's the only day he does it, on WABC. And it's one of the reasons why when he talks shit about all the networks, why he it's not like he doesn't talk crap about WABC, but he slows down when he says ABC. You ever notice that? Yay! Hooray! There we go. And level 2 hype train happening. It's good. Yeah, he does. It's super weird. So thank you, T-Brock. Thank you. Yay! I don't know how many people listen to it. Most of the time when it's right-wing radio, they pay. It's paid for by other people to make it exist. Effectively, the Heritage Foundation and some other super PACs pay for shows like Rudy's and Rush Limbaugh's show, for example, all the licensing fees and getting them on the networks themselves, strictly so that they basically they're an infomercial for the Republicans. That's what that is. Rudy's show is not an actual political radio show done by somebody who genuinely believes in their cause and was found to be a really interesting voice about what was going on. As much as he was New York's mayor and all that kind of stuff, and they gave him a show afterwards. That's not all that weird, whatever, but that's not what this show is. It's just basically an infomercial for Trump. And but he takes calls, and apparently someone yelled at him for being a nutcase. Oh my God, news in my area, has it? Oh God. So, so shall we? Yeah, let's hear it. And Maria Ryan is his co-host / board op / whatever, I think, on the show.
The 45th president of the United States to uncovering the truth. Our special thanks to President Trump for taking his time to call in today.
Yeah, because he's so busy, guys. If it wasn't for, honest to God.
Mr. President, how are you?
Well, thank you very much.
Oh, God. Thank you very much. I sound fantastic. I feel fantastic. I'm miserable. I haven't gone outside.
I call in to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. And as you know,
he does realize it's Monday, right? Or Sunday, I guess.
Rudy and his team and myself and a lot of other people, and frankly, millions of people all over the country, we have uncovered a voter fraud. The greatest...
It's good that your show is called Uncovering the Truth. And by the way, my voice is this way because I haven't been talking.
This voter fraud in history. It's the most corrupt election this country's ever had, by far.
Well, granted, he did, in my estimation and in my humble opinion, pay ES&S to guarantee him Florida and Ohio and Texas, and they dumped some money in a couple other states they thought they might lose because of the polling. But even though he paid them to, it still wasn't enough. And so most corrupt in history, perhaps, but still not corrupt enough to give him the election.
And I think it's great that you not only work on it, because Rudy's invaluable, but...
Well, he's not valuable. There has been no value. Seriously. Nothing of value has come from any of what Rudy has done. What are you doing?
Not only work on it, and we've already found the answers. Now we have to get the support from some politicians other than...
Yeah, we already have it. I mean, we have so much evidence, guys. I mean, I blame the courts.
That, we have it made. I think we...
Yeah, you got it made. In the shade, baby. Who loses this badly? Has the election already certified? Has, even Mitch McConnell and Vladimir Putin already congratulating Biden, going, we got it made. We got him right where we want him.
I think we've come a long way in a very short...
You have. You've come a long way, baby.
...period of time.
In a short period of time. You've been president for 4 years.
Mr. President, I just issued a challenge.
Jesus, are they both in hotel rooms calling in on regular phones?
I said to the Democrats, if you're so sure that we're lying and we're making this up, how about letting us examine the machines in 6 cities, 6 counties? We'll examine them in public, and let's see who won.
What are you going to do? Pop them open and examine them. How are you going to examine them? Let me guess. You're going to roll in there with a couple of your tech experts. They're going to hook a computer up to them and go, see? What's the examination? What is it? Beyond the audits that are normally done by by the way, how long do you think it is before Rudy Giuliani gets hit with the Smartmatic lawsuit that Fox had to fall to? Did you guys see the Maria Bartiromo rollback piece she had to air legally? And Sean Hannity and Tucker had to air in the last segment of their show and act like they had nothing to do with it. This little infomercial for getting busted by Smartmatic.
Right. The machines, number one, and every machine we've looked at, you know what the results there have been. But
yeah, you lost. That's every machine that's been looked at. Now, in some cases, you've looked at the machines and they've actually given more votes to Biden.
But the machines and also the signature verifications.
Yes.
Let us see the signatures in Fulton County in Georgia.
Yeah, that'll do it. I mean, if I could just overturn Fulton County in Georgia, the embarrassment of losing a red state is the real dig on him.
And a couple of other places. Let us see
Yeah, just a couple other places. Black places. Let's be abundantly clear. There isn't a single city that he will announce, he will want added to this, that isn't primarily got a huge black population, and the black population voted for Biden in a mass.
see the signature.
He's not going to go, let's check out the UP of Michigan. I want to look at the machines up there.
You'll find that hundreds of thousands of signatures either don't exist or were fraudulently written.
How do you check non-existent signatures? And again, this just points to him hey, if we look for signatures that aren't there, that were never there, we can claim that they're missing.
And no matter where you look, you're going to
just look anywhere. Like you looked in Wisconsin.
Find it, but we're trying to work. It's a very difficult thing because of the governor and the Secretary of State.
Yeah, it's terrible. Because Brian Kemp, that big stalwart of election fairness.
But I think they are now on Monday, they're starting signature counts, but they're not starting them, signature verifications, but they're not starting them in the right location.
Yeah, that's the problem. They're not doing them in all the places we think should happen. Right.
They're starting them in areas which are not very troubled. And
you mean white areas? Is that what you're talking about?
And
Yes, he does sound ill. I don't know what this is. I mean, it might just be, snort-related nasal issues.
we'll still find a lot, even in those areas. But
Yeah, even in the white areas, you'll probably find a lot of shenanigans.
they should let us do signature counts in the proper
Signature counts.
locations. And
What's a signature count? Please, someone interrupt him and ask him what he means.
you will see hundreds of thousands of fraudulent signatures or signatures that don't even exist.
How do you see something that doesn't exist? Never mind. I'm trying to make sense of this.
We know that's true, Mr.
Yeah, it's so true. Thank you for bringing it up, Mr. President, and being that brave.
President, and we're all fighting for you.
Well, not all of you.
It's not just because we're conservative or Republicans. It's
It's just because of America.
because it's the truth.
That's right. You've always concerned yourself. You fought just as hard for Barack Obama's citizenship, I'm sure. I'm sure you pushed back against birtherism with the same, and the idea that somehow Obama was an illegitimate president in 2 elections. I'm sure that you, Maria, and Rudy both pushed it back with all your might because of the truth. That's the important part.
The people
The peeper. Oh, I guess we are talking about Rudy.
overwhelmingly want you to continue in the White House. You've done an impeccable job in 4 years over.
No, it's been quite peckable. I would argue. You could peck away at a lot of it. He literally he needed a man named David Pecker to help him through you don't get more peckable than being friends with and getting the assistance of and getting in campaign finance trouble with a guy named David Pecker.
Over great
You're impeccable.
adversity. There was so much corruption, so much
So much corruption. It was terrible.
of the deep state working against you. Media, big tech. But you know what? We saw
Big tech. Little tech's been there for him the whole way. You know what I mean? Like Snapchat and Parler and 4chan and the QAnon crowd. Is that little tech?
what you were
Little tech?
doing, getting hostages released. Best
Yeah, no other president has gotten hostages released in the entirety of the. All right.
economy. The fact that
The fact that we entered into a recession in February.
you were putting America first.
That's right. For the first time since I'd have to go back to nobody. I mean, did George Washington put America first? I don't think so. Lincoln practically sawed this country in half.
We love you and honor you for that. And we wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas.
That's very sweet.
We all wish you a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Rudy, and thank you.
Something. You have
That's
more
so
support
nice.
now than you have more support now than you had before the election.
Then that just proves that your supporters are morons.
If
You know,
we were
it's
to do
true.
this again, you'd
It's
win by
true.
10 million more.
It's true.
I swear to God.
I swear to God, you would totally win. Never mind the fact that my for whatever reason, Rudy's phone call into his own goddamn show is really low in this.
spoke to a great gentleman, Tommy Tuberville.
A great gentleman, Tommy Tuberville.
Last night, and he
Yeah,
is so
oh, yeah.
excited. He
Last night, and he is so excited to come over and do some with me.
said, "You made me the most popular politician in the United States." He said,
What? Tommy Tuberville thinks that he's the most popular politician in the United States.
"I can't believe it. He's great."
Yeah, no one would believe that. Not anyone. Tommy Tuberville's family wouldn't believe that.
Great senator, but I'm so glad you mentioned hostages because it's a great time to talk about it. We've
It
released
is a great time to talk about hostages. When better?
49 hostages. We don't pay because if you pay, you'll have a problem like you've never seen before. But we've
Yeah. if you pay, you'll have a problem like you've never seen before. By the way, we just gave $50 billion in military aid to the UAE and Bahrain and allowed Saudi Arabia and those two other countries to buy F-35s so that they'll promise not to use them on Israel until Trump leaves office.
We've gotten 49 people out that everybody said you'll never be able to get out. So it's been a great achievement.
Really, everybody said you'll never be able to get them out. I don't doubt that some people told Trump he'd never be able to get them out without bribery or promising them things under the table, which he did. Why is that?
It's been an amazing achievement out of places that you don't even want to know about.
You're right. I don't know what is this?
That's how bad they were. So
you don't even want to know what countries these places were. By the way, he means African countries. That's why he's saying that, because nobody's like, yeah, Iran. You know what I mean? Or North Korea, South Sudan. Yeah, no. Africa.
So
it's
really
a lot more, Mr. President.
Well, there are more out there.
American
there are a lot
people
more
are
out
behind
there.
you. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's it. That's been the primary focus.
You got them.
You're right, and you're behind us. And thank you, Rudy. Thank you both, and Merry Christmas. And
Merry Christmas to the
I'll
family.
speak to you guys, and we're getting closer and closer. And
Totally getting closer and closer. But I really got to run because I have to go to Camp David to golf one last time. I only have 5 minutes to pop on Rudy Giuliani's radio show on a Sunday morning.
I hope you let everybody know we're actually very close.
Yeah, let everybody know. Everybody who listens to Rudy Giuliani's WABC show in New York.
Fake news will not tell you that. They don't want to talk about it.
No, they don't. The fake news. Oh, we hate the fake news, don't we?
Trying to suppress it.
We
don't
are.
have freedom of the press at all.
We don't. It's amazing. We don't have the freedom of the press, and thank God he's able to say that on ABC's radio network in New York City. And by the way, when Trump says we don't have freedom of the press, what he means is right now he's not getting free press. Let's be abundantly clear about that, because that is the primary complaint of Trump and Rudy Giuliani, is that they can't go on CNN, MSNBC, or any of the major networks and spout their nonsense without being interrupted or kicked to the curb when they start lying. They used to get a ton of free press. He used to be able to call in to Morning Joe before the election, in 2016, and just yammer, and it was free press. You couldn't pay for that level. I mean, it was the amount that you would have to pay a publicist to get you on that regularly. You'd have to be a paid contributor to be on as frequently as he was. And he could call into any of these shows. And Rudy could go on CNN, on Cuomo's show anytime he wanted. And they would get free press. They didn't have to take out op-eds. They wouldn't have to pay for time on smaller networks. It was free. And what he means when he says freedom of the press, he means the network's carrying whatever the hell he wants to say, truth be damned. That's what that means. That's it. Absolutely, there is freedom of the press. You just don't have freedom to take over someone else's mic or megaphone without their permission. And they have a say in that process. And even the censorship they're bitching about, all it says is not so fast under all of his tweets where he's lying about the election. You can still believe his crap if you're that dumb. You're not allowed to believe his nonsense. It just has a fact check attached to it, which is based on reality.
Well, it's suppressed news. Yeah. It's a terrible thing that's happened.
Oh, it's suppression. The news, that he can only get on a Sunday show on WABC for 5 minutes between golfing.
And in our country, the last...
It really is.
It's been
it's terrible, Maria Ryan says, as the co-host of Rudy Giuliani's show on the ABC radio network in New York City, the largest media market on earth.
Going on it started a long time ago. But
yeah, long time ago, probably in the 50s.
But it's gotten to a point, it's just...
Oh, what happened? It's just what?
It's a terrible thing.
Oh, it's a terrible thing. Yes. Yeah. Always the greatest grasp of language.
It's not freedom of the press, and we got to bring that back because
Yeah, totally. Bring back freedom of the press. Stop the government intervention in the press that where they will try to remove the protection of 230 from platforms so that they get held to the same liability rules as public. Oh shit.
the press is so suppressed.
The press is so suppressed. Again, the best words. I don't even know how any of us can dream of having a grasp of the English language in such a way that, I mean, I don't know what he has to snort to just have the dictionary just available on command at all times. The man is like a human thesaurus with all but 4 pages torn out.
It's so dishonest. Nobody's
even seen a dishonesty like this before. Have you seen the dishonesty?
I don't even call it fake news anymore.
No, you don't.
It corrupt news.
Yeah, call it corrupt news. It's way better.
So
it
just
really hangs in there. Corrupt news.
I don't even call it fake news anymore. I call it corrupt news.
Yeah, so you know what I mean? Because it just has a zing to it. I mean, fake news, it's a good hashtag, but corrupt news says so much more.
So just thank you very much. You're great.
You're fantastic. Please keep up the work.
Patriots, both of you. And I hear your show is a big success.
I hear your show is a big success. Who do you hear that from? Rudy, whose show it is? I was thumbing through the ratings the other day.
Well, Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yeah, just to everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody.
God bless.
Merry Christmas, Mr. President. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, darling. You take care. Bye.
Yeah, big round of applause from Maria Ryan, and I guess Rudy in his hotel room. Jesus, embarrassing. Now, I want to show you this real quick. This is Lin Wood. This is the dude who was telling everybody not to vote for Loeffler and Perdue unless they stand with them on the courthouse steps and stand up to these fraudulent elections and all that stuff. That dude who always looks, again, like he's freshly been loofah'd. That kind of skin redness has got to, it's like his blood's trying to pop out through his face. But this is NTD, whatever, the Epic News' network. They have an exclusive with Lin Wood. By the way, if you or anybody has a microphone, you too, even if it doesn't work, you too, even if it's not plugged in, have a webcam facing the wrong way, you too can have an exclusive with Lin Wood. I have no doubt whatsoever. So the exclusive part is a little like, it's got to be, hi, Claudia in Switzerland, another place I would love to go to. And by the way, the Swiss Army knife jokes that you guys have put up with, for all these years, I used to have a joke in my stand-up where people were like, what are the, if you see the Swiss Army, if the Swiss Army is any indication, look at their little knives or whatever, how ridiculous, how weak. I was like, can you imagine what their tanks are like? Just like that, and a toothpick. I'm just saying, I fear the Swiss Army airplanes. They must look like transformers. You can clip your nails and strafe bomb the entire area. It's just something to be afraid of. So, that said, hold on. I've got to figure this thing out. All right, get back over there. I have rearranged some things, and I've got to figure out a way to get back. Delete. There you go. I have to keep that window from closing. Here, listen to this. Listen to the quality of this as well.
Other rigged election stemming.
By the way, their exclusive just starts midway through, and the dude's like, "Yeah, we I haven't even introduced you yet. People don't know who the hell you are. This is," and by the way, 750,000 views, streamed live, 1.1 million subscribers. I'm just saying, guys, like and subscribe, give me a thumbs up, because what is that? What is happening? Look at the production value. I am one man. Yes, I am in many ways superhuman, but I, by myself, am bringing you better production value than this so-called network with 1.1 million subscribers. What? By the way, and it's blurry. Yes, it is not blurry because of me. See how I'm not blurry? See how my little... And by the way, thank you for the let's see, I'll empty the tip jar. So does that work right now? Maybe it will. Just for the record, this is crap. I'm not going to play all of this because it's an hour. But listen to this nonsense. And by the way, this guy was basically there to catch Sidney Powell when she fell from grace, and then she bounced right off of his his face and then went right back up to the White House.
In the form of the runoff. So my lawsuits go to that main.
And look at this guy looked like he's in a hostage video. He's like, You can just tell that it's like this guy sidled up. It's like Lin Wood just rolled up next to him at a bar and just started rambling about this shit. And that guy's waiting for his date to come back with the car keys.
Main issue about Georgia, although in the second case, I've put in a wealth of evidence of the actual fraud that took place in respecting the election, which I didn't have when I first filed the lawsuit, but...
Yeah, you don't want all the evidence. You don't want a wealth of evidence when you file the lawsuit. Just file, you file the lawsuit not the one you won't.
Which Sidney Powell has filed and presented to a number of courts. And inexplicably, that evidence, which is massive and
inexplicably, that evidence, which is massive,
authenticated, has been ignored by the courts. Something's wrong with our judicial system, Josh.
Sir, it's been ignored by the court. Did you not submit your evidence with your case? Where is this? Where is the idea that you get to file a lawsuit without presenting your evidence and just randomly without reference? Like the court is responsible for taking up your case. Now, I'm no legal expert, but I don't know of a single judge that wouldn't view that as a waste of resources, taxpayer dollars, and their time if you're not willing to present your evidence until they give you a hearing. Because it just sounds like you want to use their courtroom as a media platform for your nonsense.
We have a question here from Jackie McGregor. She says,
yeah, Jackie McGregor, of the Jack and McGregors.
Will President Trump enact the executive order from 2018 as he has already been given the information on foreign interference in our election? I think we just need to speak up a bit more, too, because I wonder...
Yeah, speak up, guys, and give... Yeah, that's... Yeah. Looking at him like, no one can hear this asshole. What is going on? I don't know. Maybe mic the goddamn thing. Or turn your own mic up inside the whatever. What are you shooting this on? What is this? This is a network. Look at the graphics in focus. The little NTD Live up there. That's got... There's... What is this coming from?
I wonder if the audio is a bit low. So, again, asking about whether Trump will enact the 2018 executive order. Now he has information that China, Russia, and Iran interfered in our election.
I believe that he will, but then I don't speak for the president. I don't represent him, and at the end of the day, only the president is going to make a decision on how to handle this constitutional crisis.
Oh, look, it's finally coming in.
That will, I believe, ultimately determine whether we live...
And they're straightening it out. Oh, the table got moved.
People, or whether we live...
Let me get my laptop. Let me move the laptop.
So, the answer
choppy.
Is, I think the basis for his actions under the executive order exists. I think China attacked this country with the COVID virus. I think they clearly attacked this country by interfering in our national election.
Okay, so, according to Lin Wood, China attacked us with COVID. It wasn't an accident. They didn't allow it into the country or not hold it back. They attacked us with it. It was a bioweapon attack. Lin Wood believes this man has been in the White House, been part of the Trump team at one point, but is no longer. He and Sidney Powell were both kicked to the curb. This man believes that China attacked the United States and that the president is the only thing standing between us and this attack. And what did he do, guys? You guys know it. What was the president's response to China attacking us with a bioweapon? He sold them all of our corn, soybeans, and the largest order of beef in forever. And I don't know if he gave him fries with that, but knowing Trump's diet, he probably did.
I think Iran was involved. It looks like Russia was involved too. So there's a basis of fact.
Like, are we allowed to pick on Russia? I mean, we are.
Predicate for the
OAN, by the way, this is NTD, but I'm of the mind that the OAN is actually, instead of One American News, it's One Audience Member News. It's really just like, it was OAMN, not OANN originally, just One Audience Member News. It's just Trump. We're just playing to Trump. That's all this is. We're not going to watch all this because it's a mess.
For the president to act. But there are other legitimate bases for the president to take action. Listen.
Sure. Let's hear it.
We've heard over the years this phrase that we're in a constitutional crisis. It's almost become a level of, it's almost benign. Everything's a constitutional crisis over the years with the media.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sick to death of everything being a constitutional crisis. Every time you turn around, it's a constitutional crisis. Yeah. So, but this one really is.
This
totally is.
It's a constitutional crisis.
It absolutely is.
The fabric.
Why are you pointing at me?
Of our Constitution is at risk.
Uh-oh.
So we're in the real deal now. So the president's got to use the executive order.
Yeah, he's totally got to use it. Is someone making drinks in the background?
The real deal now. The Constitution.
Somebody's literally icing drink. Like, you couldn't look like you're more in Rudy Giuliani's smoke room right now. And this asshole is like, they're just rambling next to this guy who's just trying to, like, can I steady the camera? Is this table going to, can they hear? Like, it's all, and then, like, in the background, you can literally hear them mixing drinks.
Is a constitutional crisis. The fabric of our Constitution is at risk. So we're in the real deal now. So
just literally, like, you can hear somebody fucking putting the hotel scooper in the ice. Jesus Christ. I don't think he's read enough. Perhaps bourbon. Whatever.
So the president's got to use the executive order.
He totally does.
He's got to use, if
Jesus, slow down.
necessary, martial law and the precedent. It's been used 68 times in our country. It's not
How many drinks are you serving?
out of the ordinary, although it's used, I think, judiciously.
Are they in the kitchen of the whites only country club? Is this what's happening?
Abraham Lincoln used it
It won't stop.
to save our country. Or we
Honest to God, every time I hit play, I expect that to be the last one, and it's still bling.
got to use the inherent
Yeah, that's right. Tip your waitress. Try the veal, folks.
power of the presidency. The chief executive
Jesus Christ! It's like an open mic at a Scotch bar. Are they on a boat?
officer of our country.
Stop it! Stop! I swear to God, I think it's. If somebody starts going hacka 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 and starts doing a shaker in the background, I'm gonna follow.
Who has a
Quit it!
sworn duty to you and me, to the we the people,
What is happening?
to faithfully uphold and execute the law.
What is happening? This is your exclusive interview, and in the
Laws of our country. Legislature passes laws.
Stop it.
Supreme Court interprets
Quit.
the law. The president has the duty to execute the law. So he is the person that has the final
that the
authority.
end?
The buck stops with him
Oh, again.
on what he needs to do to make sure that our country follows the rule of law. The laws were not followed in this election.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear anything about you said about the rule of law and constitutional crisis. I was too busy being overwhelmed by the number of like what whiskey neats on the rocks or whatever the shit someone is making 9 of for you as payment for this exclusive interview. Apparently, I take back what I said earlier, folks. You can't just get an exclusive interview with Lin Wood if you have a microphone or a shitty webcam. You have to have access. Shit, I'm crying from laughing. Sorry. Access to a whites-only country club and 9 bourbons. And he will, like, we'll be back right after this, just, just tossing them back.
Election, Josh. They were blatantly violated.
Blatantly. So blatantly that nobody will look at my evidence.
Fraud was rampant. A lot of states did the same thing that Georgia did. They got the governor or even sometimes the local officials were allowed to determine.
What is this guy, what is the interviewer watching? Why is he not looking at the person he is interviewing on this lovely couch? They're both sitting forward because of the microphone, I understand. But he seems riveted by his own reflection. Jesus Christ.
Determine how to deal with the mail-in votes.
Uh-huh.
It has to be done by the legislature.
Yeah, even people in that chat room are like, is somebody making iced tea?
So we've got illegal elections in several states. We've got fraud that permeated almost the entire country. But
yeah, basically. How do you think Trump got as many votes as he did? You don't think those were actually honest votes, do you? You don't think after last election he'd go up, did you? He paid good money for those and still got his ass handed to him. What is this country coming to?
But particularly so in the swing states. The courts have got to open
Because we don't give a shit about the ones that we don't view as swing states.
their eyes. They've got to be
Because we bought 2 of the other swing states, and then we didn't have any money left over to buy the swing states we actually turned out we needed.
courageous. They got to put aside their personal interest, even sometimes their concerns over their own lives.
Yeah, that's right. They should be willing to die for Trump's voter fraud claims because Lin Wood knows of which he speaks. He is a genius, and he's figured it all out, and he's got the evidence, even if the courts won't look at them, even though he could show them to the courts. I'm getting a nosebleed.
They've got to do the truth, and they've got to follow the rule of law. If
Do the truth.
this country's going to survive with freedom.
This country's going to survive with freedom. Survive with freedom. That's got to be Bigley and Dumb's next single.
Now, in terms of this executive order, you've of course talked about Abraham Lincoln before.
Great example.
Great example. Absolutely.
And if we look back at history, the state of the country that Lincoln was faced with was that states believed they could have slavery. He said, no, you cannot. And they said, well, we have state rights. We are able to make our own laws. And Lincoln, based on saying, well, there's limits to that, of course.
Oh my God. Please tell me that Republicans are now going to be arguing against states' rights using Abraham Lincoln as an example. That now the Republican Party is the party of limits on states' rights. What? Seriously, wrap your head around the Republican Party reaching this point. Holy God.
That brought about martial law, essentially. And
yeah, so he should use martial law because Lincoln used martial law to stop slavery, and Trump losing swing states is like slavery.
resulted in a civil war. Now we in America are facing a very similar crisis, which is that.
Yeah, this is almost like a civil war. Totally. It's exactly.
Local states, again, are saying, well, we are in charge of election laws. And the country is looking at almost the exact same situation, just instead of...
No, this is not the exact same situation as slavery.
Saying we can choose how we determine the freedom or slavery of our citizens.
Wow.
And we can determine the, say, integrity or lack of integrity in our election system.
What? Wow. Holy shit. Listen to this dude. Even, I was concerned about him when Lin Wood was talking. Now Lin Wood seems to be having a hard time grasping what the hell this dude is talking about.
And Trump is faced with a very...
Yeah, I know he's trying to make the argument for the Texas case, which is garbage anyways.
Very similar circumstance. How do you see this playing out?
How do you see this playing out, that Trump losing Georgia is like slavery?
Well, let me try to make it simple because
Please do.
I don't profess to be an election law expert.
Why would you be? You're only filing lawsuits on election law. Oh my God. These people. What?
But I know that our country is, as it's described, the United States.
Okay, well, and he says he's not an expert. I mean, you sell yourself short, my friend. What is this name of the United States of which you speak? Are you...
So we have a country that is made up...
That is made up of states that are united. What?
Of 50 states.
Oh boy, this guy's good. What is this? Why would... Okay, I think at this point you should just take the word exclusive off this interview. I'm just saying.
But we are united by the Constitution of the United States.
Okay. All right. I'm with you so far.
So a state can assert that it has the right to govern its own election.
Uh-huh.
But wait a minute.
Hold on. Hang in there. Wait a second. Hold on. Let me tell you what. Thank you, Eric. Yes. Hold on. Let me scroll back to that because this is the wrong. There it is. Thank you, Eric. Says, hey, Al, this is Trump's martial law idea. The new, yes. This is sort of the martial law idea. We'll get to that in a second because Mike Flynn articulates it a little better. I mean, anyone articulates it better than Lin Wood. But understand, we are listening to this jackass break news that we are 50 states with limited states' rights gathered together under a republic in line with united by the Constitution. Like,
on a federal election, it's got to do it within the framework of the Constitution.
Right.
That's what the states signed on to when we created this country and made it the United States of America.
Yeah, well, some states obviously didn't and had to be forced to, but please continue.
Lincoln tried to cut a deal before the Civil War started, and he was going to allow the states in the South that had slavery to keep it. But it was the South that said, no, we won't take your deal, because they were afraid that one by one they would start taking away the
Oh, thank God. Oh, so we're just getting another shot here. You're just moving the left. Are we... And who are these are the guys running the chat in the back room? You just got a group of incels that run everything for you? Is that what's going on in the background?
The legality of slavery. And so they drew the line in the sand. South Carolina seceded from the Union, and the war began.
Man, I feel like I've just died and gone to history class. This is so... I've learned more right now. Hold on one second. I've got my headphones just gave me the warning that they're dying on me, and I don't know why. So, give me a second while I grab my replacement headphones, which are, because I was cleaning up, don't you know, hidden back here. There, those are wired. These are unwired. Here's a wired one. That's terrible. That's the microphone. Where'd they go? I've been cleaning, and you guys hang out. By the way, I also have something to announce. We'll figure it out. I'm not putting on giant headphones. I'm just not gonna do it. I can't do it. Such a show we have here, isn't it? Isn't it just a wonderful? I'll figure it out. I know I've got some sitting around here. This is what happens when I clean up too well. This is madness. Get out of here, you rat! You bloody monster! You. No, that's not it. This is what I get for cleaning up. This is my fault. I blame myself. Where did they sneak off to? Oh well. Well, help me limp by, and then we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We might actually make it to the end of the show. Who knows?
Lincoln tried to avoid war. I think President Trump is trying to avoid civil unrest and would love to avoid.
Based on what?
What I think is inevitable, and that is a war with China. When I say a war with China, I don't want anybody to start thinking about nuclear bombs going back and forth, because we don't.
No, because why would we think that in a war between two enormous powers?
Fight wars until we fight the final war with nuclear bombs, because that's going to be annihilation. China.
What are? I don't know. My headphones aren't in my tin. They're not. I promise they're not, because I moved them. I swapped everything around. You know. Let's see. We'll find them. They're around here somewhere. I blame, this is what I get for cleaning up. I'm telling you.
China attacked us with the COVID virus. It's a biological weapon. They killed over 200,000 Americans.
3.
Compare that to the number of people that died at Pearl Harbor. Compare that to the number of people that died in 9/11. And get mad. Get angry. These people came over here with a virus, and they killed over 200,000 people with virus. 200,000.
Listen to this asshole. Seriously. Honest to God, I've been talking about how Trump dances around the idea that it was a bioweapon. Rudy Giuliani does it too. He hangs out with this dickhead. Even though they don't use him on the official team, they're obviously talking back and forth all the time. And this asshole thinks we need to have a war with China because he believes it was a bioweapon that was used to attack us specifically. Trump thinks this too at this point. He's accepted Sidney Powell back into the circle. Rudy Giuliani was like, I think Sidney's a little nuts. Literally in that Oval meeting that they had that Maggie Haberman was talking about.
100,000 of our fellow citizens. They tore up our businesses. They tore up our economy. They had people running us into our homes. Tell us we had to.
Had people running us into our homes.
Wear masks. Tell us how many people we could have in our house. Tell us when our businesses could be open.
Is the Chinese we're still talking about? The Chinese told us how many people we could have in our house?
Closed. Tell us how we could worship our God and control our churches. It's
what?
Time to get angry about that, America, because that was.
Yeah, get angry. We should bomb China. What the fuck? What? Jesus.
China. Don't make any mistake about it. It was planned. You can go look at a documentary, Indoctrination, just like it sounds. Indoctrination, one word.
Indoctrination, just like it sounds. Indoctrination, but doctor nation. Sounds just like, it's like as if it was misspelled, but not on purpose. That's how indoctrination, watch it, is, oh boy. Don't tell me I have to do that shit, where I have to go through indoctrination. And
I helped finance that documentary with a man named Mickey Willis.
Oh, yeah, all right. Well, no point in not selling it. Christ, I'm not doing any more of this, dickhead. But I would just want to remind you, this is what this asshole thinks. Hold on. Now, that's the outer limits, right? So Lin Wood's on NTD Live. The Epic News is old crazy bullshit. remnant network. Yeah, sure, that's crazy. But here's Mike Flynn, who was just in the White House with Sidney Powell and that crowd, talking to the president, and the president floated the idea. Mike Flynn brings this whole martial law idea up, and this is him being interviewed about it. Listen to this.
He could order within the swing states, if he wanted to, he could take military capabilities and he could place them in those states and basically rerun an election in each of those.
Yeah. This is allegedly a Republican who works for a Republican, and on behalf of a Republican president who believes that they should send the military into individual states and use the military to force them to rerun the election until he wins.
He could order within the swing states, if he wanted to, he could take military capabilities and he could place
military capabilities. So what? Attack helicopters, biological weapons, chemical weapons that knock everybody out, and then somebody can just walk around and make you sign a new ballot. What military capabilities are we talking about? Snipers?
Place them in those states and basically rerun an election in each of those states. I mean, it's not unprecedented. I mean, these people.
Yeah, it is. It is unprecedented. It is insane. It's grotesque. And the amazing part is that it would be a Republican who would suggest this. Can you imagine? I mean, we've done the whole what if Obama thing many, many times with, how people talk about George W. Bush, much less Trump. But can you imagine a Democrat suggesting after 2016 that we send in the military, that Obama send in the military and take over the elections of states she lost by less than the margin that Trump lost by this time around, and forcing them to redo their elections under the auspices that fraud was committed and that you have to send in the military to stop it.
People out there talking about martial law, it's like it's something that we've never done. Martial law has been instituted 64 times, Greg. So I'm not calling for that.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. How is he not calling? This is exactly what calling for that means. Hold on. Play.
He could order within the swing states, if he wanted to, he could take military capabilities and he could place them in those states and basically rerun an election in each of those states. I mean, it's not unprecedented. I mean, these people out there talking about martial law, it's like it's something that we've never done. Martial law has been instituted 64 times, Greg. So I'm not calling for that. We have a constitutional process.
I'm not calling for that. We have a constitutional process. Yes, and that is done.
We clearly have a constitutional process. I think you highlighted some of that in your previous segment. That has to be followed. Also ordered.
Jesus Christ! Like, can you imagine? Imagine just AOC, for example, or one of the other, I guess it wouldn't be boogeymen, the boogie people, the boogie persons of the right. Ilhan Omar. Imagine her, or imagine Eric Holder or somebody who was in the Obama administration going on some rando internet network show and expressing this is what you could do. You could take the military and send them into these states we lost and make them redo the election under military control on behalf of the president. What kind of Saddam Hussein bullshit is this? I do think it's boogie people. It must be boogie people. Boogie people. Boogie people. Yeah. Well, I mean, it should come as no surprise to anyone that that Flynn is a criminal, that he would be in jail right now but for Trump pardoning him. And here we go. So this is shorter, by the way. Hold on. Oh, God. So for the record, oh, gosh, we're back. We got another episode of Rudy Giuliani's Common Sense, and he's got his iPad back, but damn it, he has to charge the thing. It's dying, mainly because I think he left his pencil hooked up the whole time, and it's just not going to last. You need to plug it in this time. This is serious. Now, in a normal world, I would think this kind of money he's getting paid to do this, that iPad would be hooked up to, I don't know, a Blackmagic ATEM Pro or a Mini, and it would allow it as a source into the show that he can actually just tap on the screen when he wants something to come up, because how easy would that be? But in the meantime, it's not. He's just running out of battery power because it's an older model and he hasn't figured out how to use it yet. But yes, this is Rudy's, and this one is blissfully short compared to the other ones. Yeah.
This is Rudy Giuliani with
what? Gosh, I know this one. More blather. Say it again. Wait, listen to this.
Hello, this is Rudy Giuliani with
Hold.
Rudy's Common Sense.
There you go. It's just your show, so I can understand where the title of the show really wouldn't be at the front of your mind when you're about to.
This episode today, we're going to focus on.
Focus. We're going to focus. Here we go, guys. Focus. We're going to focus this time. Not like the other shows where we get a big bird's eye view, wide-angle lens. No. We've got a promise right out of the gate that the president's attorney, who was just in the White House trying to talk Sidney Powell from becoming a special prosecutor before he does. But please, tell us what you're going to focus on.
The 2020 election from a narrower point of view, something we haven't spent much.
Yeah, you haven't spent much time on a narrower point of view, the 2020 election, narrowing in on focusing. Maybe that's the problem with all these cases. Maybe we've just filed too broad a kind of, all right.
Much time on.
Yeah, you haven't. I mean, what time do you have? Honestly, it's just your show, and there's no time limit on how long the show is. You're in that room all the time. You phoned in from your ABC show with lower quality than this. Oops.
A great deal of discussion about the mail-in ballots, about their legitimacy or lack of legitimacy.
Mainly about their legitimacy. Mainly, that's what the world has been talking about.
The fact whether or not they were inspected or not.
They were inspected.
Allegations that hundreds of thousands were not inspected.
Your allegations. He acts like these allegations came from others. You know what? I have heard I don't know if you guys have known this, but I've heard about people talking about giving Hal Sparks' show a like and a thumbs up. And, a couple of people just spontaneously have continued to bring this up, that, liking and subscribing, especially on Twitch, you know what I mean? It's something I'm hearing as kind of a groundswell.
Allegations that hundreds of thousands were brought in the middle of the night.
Yeah, your allegations.
Allegations that thousands were triple and quadruple counted. All of these allegations are in affidavits and in testimony that's been given before state legislators.
Yeah, not under oath, though, because none of your people would go under oath because they'll get in trouble. All right.
Interestingly, no court has taken any testimony like this.
Because your people won't go under oath.
Which is very, very odd and very strange. And it's almost as if see no evil, hear no evil. We want to stay
Yeah, that's always been the problem with the courts.
Out of it, even though
courts don't like seeing evil.
So the evidence is mounting.
Law and order gets so boring as soon as the law part stops and they try to get to the order part. I'm like, what are you doing?
Mounting and mounting and mounting.
He's asking for 300.
And in 6 states, it's at the point of critical. But today I want to focus on something you've heard about, but probably we haven't had as much time to study: the Dominion voting system.
Yeah, we haven't. That's true, guys. Good point. We have not talked about the Dominion voting system. Of all the stuff, I mean, I don't even, do you guys know what he's talking about? I don't even know that he's ever brought up the what? The Dominion? Okay. So the Dominion voting system, we're going to focus in on that because Jesus Christ.
The Dominion voting system is a voting system that was used in approximately 27 states. And in the critical battleground states, where rather incredibly large Trump leads were eviscerated overnight
By people mailing in their ballots, and stop licking your cold sore.
by questionable
Just because you question something doesn't make it questionable. Your reason for questioning it has to be part of what is suspect.
ballot counts.
Question everything, man. Yeah, like gravity and whether or not that car is actually going to hit you when you walk down the middle of the highway. Question everything, bro. Who says you can't fly? Get on the top of the Strat and find out. Question everything.
From the
Quit it.
from the Biden side that were done secretly and without inspection.
No such thing happened. He's living in a fantasy world. Debunked many, many times. Just because you keep saying it over and over doesn't make it true.
And so the states we're focusing on that
Are the ones that you need to overturn for him to win, because the other states, it's super obvious you lost by the same or greater margin.
use Dominion were Michigan, where there was turnaround of a 300,000 vote lead to a
In-person voting versus mail-in voting. Half the electorate voting by mail.
loss, with a number of allegations of people being excluded from the ability to inspect, ballots being brought in the middle of the night, very, very strange counts that 138,000 for Biden and 4,000 for Trump. And there,
So Trump did get votes from those areas where he lost by 91%, 91% to 9% normally by all measure, and logically based on the number of voters and the polling beforehand. It all lined up with that. That was what was weird, was in those areas where you couldn't manipulate the vote was more like what the polls were saying before. But the red counties, especially in places like Pennsylvania that weren't using Dominion systems, didn't have to verify stuff and could throw out as many of the votes as they wanted to as they came in, as far as mail-in ballots, by challenging everything because they didn't do any curing. Those all right. Never mind.
allegations that the machines that were built initially for the purpose of stealing elections.
That's what they're for. Yeah, that's basically why they were, why people got them. I mean, basically, Brian Kemp probably bought them just so he could steal an election. It's just he stole the wrong one.
So Dominion voting system was in Michigan. It was in Philadelphia, where there were very, very significant voter fraud issues. They were used in
You wish. No, there weren't.
in Milwaukee. They were used in Maricopa County, Arizona, which is by far the largest county in Arizona. And they were used in Atlanta. And the question is,
Yes. What is the question?
what are these machines? What's their provenance? What's their background?
Yeah, what are these machines?
How much due diligence was used in focusing on them? Well,
And was it more or less due diligence that was done in choosing the ES&S machines that were used in Ohio, Florida, Texas, and Kentucky? I mean, because you want to have a baseline, don't you? Don't you want to? Wouldn't that make sense, Rudy? Wouldn't that, in this moment, when you go, hey, there's 3 or 4 different companies that are used across this country. What was there a difference in the due diligence around the Dominion machines or their systems in terms of how they were chosen over the ES&S machines? Were they in fact chosen by places like Atlanta and other places after the Brian Kemp victory because of pushback because of the electorate that they were afraid they were going to lose again if they didn't have more of a paper trail because he was able to sucker punch everybody during that election, and he was kind of stuck with the reality of this election. I'm sure you're going to compare the due diligence of the ES&S machines to it, though. So sorry I interrupted.
Well, the Dominion voting system is a Canadian company by origin.
Canadian company by origin. It's headquartered in Denver.
Founded by 2 Canadians.
Friggin' Canadians, man. What more do I need to tell you? Marxist, absolute scum.
It's had a long history of involvement with other companies, in particular with a company known as Smartmatic.
Okay, hold on one second. Freeze. Let's jump. This is a good time to jump over. Let's see, Maria Bartiromo. Smartmatic. Whoops. Get in here. Smartmatic. So she has to. They ran this. Where we go? Okay, Solon will have this for you. I'll just run the video of it. There you go. Let's see if this plays the whole package on here, but play it. Where is it? Okay, I'll find it. It'll be on. There we go. Do they have it in there? So for those of you that don't know, Smartmatic sent a cease and desist letter to Fox to stop slandering them. There we go. Here's the letter. This guy right here. Boink. I don't want to know. Litigating the... Hold on. This is very small. I am litigation counsel for Smartmatic USA Corp. Smartmatic, Fox News published numerous broadcast articles and postings regarding Smartmatic in connection with the November 3rd, 2020 election. I identify some of those publications below and refer to the totality of coverage of Smartmatic in November 2020 through today as the reports for purposes of the letter. I'm writing to provide Smartmatic's response in the reports and put you on notice of potential legal claims. So then they had to air a retraction video. Let's see if I can find the actual video. Because it was on. I'd probably be able to find it on Twitter. So, no. Maria Smartmatic retraction. Here we go. Have to go to Mediaite, get them play that whole thing. Don't go back there. Quit. Go back in here. I don't want your pictures. I want you to go away. I just wanted to kind of hunt this down because they had to do this. Videos. They had to play this or get in. That's why. Because I misspelled retraction because I was typing too fast. And she's being accused of, quote, selling out because of that that very thing. Hold on. All right, damn it. I had it earlier. But you guys have seen what I'm referring to. Rank. in terms of this. Yeah, so they ran an interview with this guy, Antonio Mujica, of the CEO of Smartmatic, said the baseless attacks from Trump and his allies have harmed the company's reputation. That was on Reuters. Bartiromo and Dobbs have had to, and Janine Pirro have all had to air this little, disinfo. We were spreading disinfo video. Mink, mink. We'll find it. Hold on. Max airs. Smartmatic. Smartmatic's a weird name, anyways. See if this is the actual one today. Okay, back up. This week. Okay, so I think it's
our top story this evening.
Where are you? Oh, it's weird that they're not playing it on that part of it. Anyways, I'll find it later. Sorry, guys. I thought I'd be able to dig it up. Sorry about that too. Oy, God. I don't know which is worse, but the important thing is that they had to air a retraction of all the stuff they've said.
Smartmatic is a company that was...
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, Professor Funbags. I wanted to talk about that. The video I was talking about, like the guy says, it's my understanding and to my knowledge, there has been, I'm not aware of any evidence, blah, blah, blah. It's a total, ghost retraction. It's garbage.
Was founded somewhere around 2003, 2004.
By the ghost of Cesar Chavez.
The original investors were two Venezuelans who were close to Hugo Chavez. And according to testimony in the United States House of Representatives and a letter from Carolyn Maloney, who happens to be my congresswoman.
That's weird.
It has a very, very shady background as being a vote counting system that was able to be manipulated with algorithms to assure the re-election of Hugo Chavez. Under the major name of this company was Smartmatic. It operated under other names.
Smartmatic was only used in one area in Los Angeles County. It was not used anywhere else in the country.
It conducted some elections in Venezuela of highly questionable nature, conducted an election in Argentina, similar questionable nature. And then it got involved in the United States with a company known as Sequoia. Sequoia was sort of a front name for Smartmatic, and
Sequoia bought Smartmatic.
Sequoia used a Smartmatic.
Yes, like Facebook bought Instagram. Instagram no longer exists. It's an arm of Facebook. They bought the software.
Technology and their ability to count votes or actually calculate votes. And long and short,
because adding is the hard part
of it is that Sequoia got into a terrible problem in Chicago. It led to a very, very disputed election where it took forever to decide. The big investigation ensued, and you should go to the Google pages and take a look at that whole history.
The Google pages. Just go to Google pages. It's kind of like the yellow pages that Rudy grew up on. Just go to the Google pages.
That Smartmatic and Sequoia had, and how basically Smartmatic was excluded from the United States, and the name Sequoia became a bad name. At that point, Dominion Voting Systems came in and appears to have purchased Sequoia, the company with all of the problems and the cheating in elections.
So they bought the materials themselves.
Appears to have purchased Sequoia system for the Dominion voting system. So based on the experts that we've had examine the Dominion machine, it's
You mean in 2007?
basically operating on the original Smartmatic Sequoia software, which was
No. It's been updated many, many times. That's like saying, basically, let me see your iPhone. Yeah, it's basically the iPhone from the first iPhone. It's glass front, makes calls, you can text, also has camera, right? Yeah, it's basically the same thing.
was designed to not count a vote, but to calculate a vote. Now you say, what does that mean? Shouldn't a voting machine just count a vote? Well, of course a voting machine should just count a vote.
This is brilliant. I'm giving him the Lin Wood Award.
Computers calculate, voting machines record. And voting machines should just record one vote for Trump and one vote for Biden and one vote for Sanders and one vote for this one and that one and the other one. It shouldn't be able to calculate that vote. There's no calculation involved. It's one vote or not. Well, these machines, these Dominion machines, which have now been examined in detail by...
Is that why they have to send the votes to Spain to be calculated?
Our forensic experts, all with very, very significant military and intelligence background.
Really? Do we want to go into the wheel mechanic who washed out of the intelligence services and the guy who's in charge of propaganda who you hired? Jesus.
Say that the machine is completely porous. They described it as like a piece of Swiss cheese. Anyone can get into it. Anyone can...
Well, you've paid them to be your experts.
Change it.
You are arguing on behalf of your client. You went and found experts that would either agree with you or, frankly, made it up. Will make it up to start with, right?
It even counts half votes.
It does not count half votes.
Now, this I can't explain to you. Some experts going to have to explain to you.
It's your case. Explain it to me.
Why you would want to count a half vote in an election. I've never heard of an election decided, 1,000 and a half to 997 and a quarter. Just exactly why that's done, so votes can be moved around or algorithms can be set, is beyond my expertise.
Well, try.
But these machines have been the source of a great deal of controversy. Back in 07, 08, the Democrats were very upset with the use of it and basically banned it, and then they snuck back in through...
Yeah, they made them meet certain standards before they were allowed to be used, you mean? Where they actually pass legislation, govern, make sure there are standards? Christ.
Through Dominion buying Sequoia. They had some problems there, both overseas and here. And then just recently, in the last couple of years, Senator Warren, several other Democratic senators wrote letters very, very critical of the Dominion voting system as being highly unreliable, very, very prone to...
Whoops, that's my headset dying. Okay, hold on one second. Fixing it. Trying to find a thing to put it back together. Where do my headphones go? Why won't the battery last? I don't know why. It's driving me a little bit crazy. Not gonna lie. Oh yes. Oh yeah. Where are they? Headphones. No, like how many headphones do I need to actually have before I crazy me and my craziness? Get some of this stuff out of here. Hold on. It's not there. You guys talk amongst yourselves. It's a good time to introduce you to your friend. There they are. They got hidden behind a thing and underneath another thing and put through a thing, and now I found them. Sorry about that. I have to replace my my headphones, my Apple these AirPods, because they just do not last. These were 100% charged right before I started. These are the oldest model. These are the originals. So there we go. Hopefully. That's fun.
To fraud and manipulation.
Oh my God, that's super loud compared to where I was. Oh, that's good. All right, Jesus. His voice is hot. Thank you. I will bring it down a touch.
More so than most machines. We'll be right back.
What? Oh God, damn it.
If you want a
God.
good cigar, go to a good cigar shop.
If you want a terrible cigar, listen to Rudy Giuliani give you advice on what to suck on. Why are you going to black?
Let's continue.
Yeah, let's continue. So we're focusing on Dominion, Smartmatic, Sequoia, counting half of a vote. Elizabeth Warren hated it, so it must be terrible, but we hate Elizabeth Warren, and now she likes it because they fixed the stuff she has to be fixed.
So then you wonder, how did they get hired in 27 states?
How do they do that? 27 states, including ones run by Republicans. Super weird.
I mean, really, I was the mayor of a city that had a budget larger than most states, and we had a procurement process that was quite intricate. And of course, we put out contracts of this magnitude, for bid. Each company went through what's called due diligence.
Uh-huh.
And
Did you, Clay? Have you figured it out? What is he talking about?
Barest of due diligence on Dominion voting systems. If you just went on here and Googled it, you would find everything I just told you.
Yeah, just go Google stuff, guys. Just go to Sidney Powell's OnlyFans, and she's got
including the connection, historic connection to Venezuela.
And oh yeah, really, like. Giuliani wants you to Google Dominion, Smartmatic, Sequoia, Venezuela, and see what you come up with. I mean, it's got to be true. It's the internet.
And to Smartmatic.
Please go on. Yes.
Exactly why you would contract with them?
Well, I don't know that I would. I don't run elections or whatever, but I mean, obviously you seem concerned.
Exactly why would you contract with a foreign company?
Well, their offices are in Denver.
Dominion is a Canadian company.
Canadians? Jesus.
Our votes are sent outside the United States during the calculation process.
No, they're not.
Did you know that?
No, because no one knows that because it's not true. That's just made up. That's just some weird detail that he has latched onto, that the votes get sent to Spain to be counted before they reach Steve Kornacki.
Did you know that people in Michigan, that your witless governor signed a contract that allows the votes to be sent from Michigan overseas? I mean, who knows what happens to them?
Yeah, when they go over there or whatever, they get drunk. They're thanks. They're just it's like the Griswolds and European vacation. They go. I mean, they could bounce all over Europe. They could get COVID in Italy and then come back and give it to you.
They go overseas in a machine that is highly insecure.
They go. They go overseas in a machine that is highly insecure. So it just needed a trip to get its groove back. It's just not feeling itself anymore. And it's like, maybe if I go to Europe, I can find my way. I don't.
Similar with your governor in Pennsylvania who did the same thing. Somebody's going to have to answer for this.
Did they do was the contract the exact same as it was in 2016? It was. Because you didn't have a problem with the votes going overseas to be counted. They weren't. Back then.
Why did you select this company?
Yes, they're going the Love Boat. Yeah, the Love Boat. Thanks, Eric. I can't.
That has such a questionable history, even with members of your own party. And then...
Yeah, put your glasses back on. You're going to need to.
Just in case you think we're speculating, over the course of the last 2 weeks, We've had the opportunity to examine 22 of these machines that were operating in Antrim County, Michigan. That's the county in Michigan where 6,000 votes switched from Trump rather to Biden.
You mean like the 17,000 votes for Biden that went to Trump wrongly in Pennsylvania?
And nobody
which is, almost 3 times as many. All right.
noticed it except a gentleman named Bill Bailey, who's just a local citizen in Antrim County.
Who noticed the 17,000 that was wrong?
And he said nobody in Antrim County was voting for Biden. So
Well, clearly they were. Trump only won it by 2,500 votes.
how could he possibly have won the county? So he started to make inquiries and made such a fuss. He hired a lawyer. He brought a case to court. The county and the state, of course, lied and said that it was human error.
It was human error. They did fix it on the spot.
Well, the judge allowed a forensic examination by a very reputable company.
Uh-huh.
And they conducted a
What reputable company would that be, Rudy?
4 or 5 day forensic review of the 22 machines.
Audit.
And here's what they found. First, on the question of human error, there was no human error. The machine switched the votes based on some kind of pre-programming.
You mean the pre-programming that when someone enters in a number of votes and pushes the button that associates them with a particular person, it can be, all right.
And apparently the machines throughout the state are programmed to switch votes.
They are? So that's what they are. This is his argument. The machines in Michigan are programmed to switch votes. They're the same machines that were used in the last election and the one before that, but they are programmed automatically. And basically AI is governing us right now.
The error rate for the votes cast on these machines was a 68% error rate.
No. I mean, we've been through this before, but that's just goofy.
I know it's hard to fathom.
It's not hard to fathom. We can fathom it. We just also know that while in the process of fathoming, we recognize it's bullshit.
68% error rate. The Federal Election Commission allows a rate of 0.0008%. So this error rate is...
Do the math, Rudy.
Virtually means there was no election.
Okay. May I just, this will be easier to look up the, let's see, 68%. Since he's telling me to ask the Google machine. Error rate voting Michigan. Yeah, that'll work. Should come up there. Yeah, this we dealt with this once before, but I thought I'd bring it up anyways. 68% error rate in Michigan voting machine should by law attain a percentage of 1%. This is Rudy said the same thing. This is where Trump heard it from, was from Rudy. In Tuesday tweet, Trump claimed that there was a 68% error rate in Michigan voting machines should by law attain a percentage of 1%. He suggested that Jocelyn Benson would face legal scrutiny, and that Trump was reacting to a consultant's report that a judge made public Monday in connection with an election lawsuit in Antrim County. That's the people that they had. Where a misapplied software update initially led to incorrect and unofficial results. And by the way, that was the human error, was the misapplied software update. Initially led to incorrect unofficial results, by the way. Again, not the ones that go to the state for certification, the ones that go to the press and the like. Being reported on election night, but Trump's tweet misinterprets the findings of the report, which itself presents a misleading picture. Michigan vote tabulators do not read ballots incorrectly 68% of the time, nor is this statement true if applied only to Antrim County tabulators in the November 3rd election. And the report Trump reacted to, while ambiguous and inaccurate on the subject of errors, does not even make that claim. The report is signed by cybersecurity analyst Russell James Ramslin Jr. of ASOG. Remember that guy? The guy who worked in, public, in group manipulation and psyops? Right. A firm whose representatives have provided analysis and affidavits for lawsuits provided by Trump allies falsely alleging voter fraud and election irregularities. In one such analysis of voter turnout, Ramsland mistook voting jurisdictions in Minnesota for Michigan towns, and another filed in support of the federal lawsuit in Michigan. He made inaccurate claims about voter turnout in various municipalities, misstating them as much as tenfold. So one would think that your experts should have a failure rate closer to what your experts should have a lower failure rate than the one you're claiming in your suit that the machines have. Yeah. So just, for the record.
I mean, there's not a single reliable
person on your team
result. How the state of Michigan could have certified any vote based on these machines with a 68% error rate.
Horrible.
Makes the statement, and whoever signed it, whether it was the governor or the secretary of state or
you,
whatever,
your tech guy,
other negligent or crooked official who did it.
So the people who work with you,
makes it a lie.
Yes, you're lying. You've had people push back against this on your own radio show. You've had people call you out on it. You've recognized that they're telling the truth and that you've been lying, but you've gone, well, the allegations are there, as if you didn't hire someone to make those allegations on behalf of your client.
I mean, whatever the vote in Michigan was, it's not the one they submitted. The one they submitted is a lie.
No, the statement you submitted was a lie.
68% error rate.
Doesn't happen.
There was an 81.96 rejection rate in the votes cast.
81% of the votes cast in Michigan were rejected.
And in the machine, these are sent to adjudication. They go to adjudication files where...
So the signature verification machines were actually turned up in Michigan, and that only 20%, less than 20% of the signatures that were run through the machine for verification had guaranteed accreditation. The rest of them all went to human beings, a Republican and a Democrat, of which there was one each.
Somehow magically, based on algorithms, they're recalculated. Why they have to be recalculated is, again, only because
it's a scanner and they give it another try, just like putting a dollar bill in a vending machine. If you put a dollar bill in a vending machine and it kicks it out and you rub the corner and then you put it back in and then it comes back out again, you flip it over because you're like, oh shit, I put it in backwards, and you run it through again and it's got a crinkle in it and you rub it on the side of the machine and then you put it back through. Are you guilty of 4 counts of attempted forgery when it finally takes the bill?
you want the
how many U.S. dollars printed by the U.S. Mint to the exacting standards of the U.S. Treasury are not accepted by vending machines, whose sole purpose is to accept dollars to therefore vend.
Flexibility to cheat. But here is the interesting thing about
We'll be the judge of that.
Michigan, and they're wondering where's the fraud?
People are wondering. Well, no. I mean, I know where the fraud is. Your cases.
The real question about this election is, where was there no fraud?
Well, it's really easily in the Democratic votes.
In these Democrat states. These votes were sent to the adjudication file.
To the adjudication file. Okay, they were filed under adjudication.
The adjudication files for 2020 were missing. That's what I said. The adjudication files for 2020 were missing.
Missing from where? In Antrim County?
81.96% of the votes cast were rejected. They were sent to a adjudication file, and it is now missing, which is a violation of Michigan state law, which I don't think counts.
In Antrim County? The county that Trump won? Okay, so let's boil this down. Rudy's case is based on the machines used in Antrim County, that the signature verification file for the county that Trump won is missing. The files for the counties that Trump lost are available.
Very much with the Democrat machine in Detroit and in Michigan. The law is just a tool for cheating.
The law is just a tool for cheating.
The security records for the election software are also missing, which also violates state law.
Which security records would these be?
These also contain the internet connection records.
There were none.
So there was illegally connection to the internet, but those records so far are missing.
So because there is no record of voting machines being hooked up to the internet, that in and of itself is proof that machines that can't be hooked up to the internet were illegally hooked up to the internet, for God's sakes.
If not destroyed.
Yeah, they had to destroy them. You know how you destroy digital stuff, right?
The election software was changed inside the 90-day safe harbor window, which is forbidden by state law, and this automatically decertifies the results. So the results in Antrim County are decertified.
The county that Trump won?
If examinations of the other Antrim machines yield the same result, they would all have to be decertified.
So okay, all right, I'm with you, Rudy. You know what? I take it back. I'm going to side with Rudy on this one. I think all the counties that Trump won should be decertified, right? Is that, we have an agreement there, Rudy? We're good on that? Because it was, obviously, the fact that he won that county is incredibly suspect. And there was a lot of shenanigans going on. It can't be trusted. Obviously, people were monkeying around with the votes in Antrim County. So, I mean, throw them all out. Now, granted, it won't really matter because most of the counties you're talking about have such low populations compared to the bigger areas that it won't make a dent even in Trump's overall vote.
But, of course, nobody bothers to look because the mass media, the big tech, and the crooked Democratic Party is trying to cover up a massive fraud.
Yeah, well, apparently they're really good at it. They can make it as if it never even happened. They're good. You know, the Democrats, when they get together with Zuckerberg, and they're like this. And of course, they're, the linkage with, I guess, the mainstream media being, what's the highest rated cable network news? It's not CNN. It's not MSNBC. Which one has the biggest reach for the demographic? Fox.
Of course, these machines have to be looked at now. 68%.
Now that the election is over?
An error rate.
Now that they don't store files in them?
82% rejection rate.
The signature verification had to be done by an person. They were set abundantly high. As a matter of fact, this goes back, God damn it. Actually, you know what, Rudy? Bless your little weird orange failing heart. You've stumbled on something extraordinary here, folks. I thought this was going to be a complete waste of time, and it certainly has felt like it so far. But let me point out the case that he's making here, that in Antrim County, the signature verification was turned up higher than it was the machines that do the signature verification. The standard on it was turned up. It has a 70% rejection rate most of the time. That's the best they can do. 70% of the time, you have to have people look at the signature and judge, because the software, unless it's near exact, 30% of the time it'll lock right in. But in Antrim County, the county that Trump won, it was less than 20%, meaning that whoever worked in the county office in Antrim County turned down the sensitivity or made the standard higher within the settings of the machine, which they had the ability to do, made it higher so that it was harder to get your signature verified. And if they didn't cure them with a Republican and a Democrat in a largely red area, the Republicans could go, nope, I don't buy it. Nope, I don't buy it. Nope, I don't buy it. And unless there's a recount later of any major level, they won't go back through those. And by the time those have already been kicked out, by the way, their ballots don't make it from the, because they're mail-in ballots and largely Democrats, that excluding any of them will affect the Democratic vote in that area. It's not going to affect the mail-in vote, normally, which would be relative even split, just like the in-person vote, was so heavily democratically leaning this time because Republicans were like, the virus is a hoax, so I'm going to vote in person. And Democrats are like, I would rather not die executing a right that, I have the right to do without dying. During that process, they knew that if they excluded any mail-in votes, they would largely be Democrats. And so, raise the standard higher on the paper. The people who were there judging it after the machines kicked it out and go, nope, 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 nope. Out of that 80%, there's that extra 11% that were kicked out. The Republican judge could go, I don't think that one qualifies. I don't think that one was qualified. And they may not get all of them. There may be a dispute. But after a while, you're going to kick out about 5% of them. You're going to make a dent in the Democratic votes in Antrim County. Because the standard by which the machines there and the verification in the red counties was higher. And because it was a red-leaning county, you had more Republicans there fighting to get stuff kicked out. And since most of the votes that came in by mail would be Democratic votes, even if you started kicking out what seemed like a normal amount compared to the pile that you have in front of you, it would ultimately throw out more Democratic votes. So, Rudy, congratulations. You've pointed out that Democrats were having their votes disenfranchised in Antrim County in a large mass. And that I don't think anybody was voting for Trump or for Biden in Antrim County, dude, was probably shocked by the number of mail-in votes that were coming in.
The adjudication files missing, the security records missing.
Who are you looking at? Who's in the room, Rudy?
The election software changed against the law. Standard security protocols were not followed. Software systems were out of date by years.
Wait. If the software systems were out of date by years, how could they have been updated within the 90-day window?
And they were a provable risk. All counties in Michigan are required to operate with the same software to guarantee consistent treatment. So if that was followed, what we can say from this sample of 22 machines is this is the way the machines are operating in the entire state of Michigan. They should be operating in a uniform way, which means they had error rates and they had adjudication rates very, very similar to this.
They weren't, though. They were higher in Antrim County. Why is that? What's going on in Antrim County that it's harder to vote by mail?
Now, here's something very extraordinary about Michigan that you just have to know. And I'm focusing just...
It's really close to Canada? That's where Dominion's from.
On Michigan, because this becomes so confusing. Every state has a group of frauds like this.
Every single state. America's really a shithole country, right, Rudy? I mean, honestly.
And the press just yells and screams and says, you can't say fraud, you can't say fraud.
I just said fraud. You said fraud. We both said it.
You can't say fraud and they destroyed the records?
No, you're claiming records of things that didn't happen exist, and when those records don't exist, you think that they are... All right.
The Secretary of State of Michigan directed the county clerks on December 1st, 2020, throughout the state of Michigan.
December 1st. Okay. December 1st. Yep.
To delete all their electronic voting records.
Beg your pardon?
Throughout the state of Michigan. To delete all their of Michigan.
Wait.
The Secretary of State of Michigan directed the county clerks on December 1st, 2020, throughout the state of Michigan to delete all their electronic voting records.
So the county clerks throughout the entire state do not have records of the voters in their counties anymore. So if you registered to vote in Michigan, apparently there's no longer a record of you that exists in the electoral roll. The electoral rolls effectively in the counties and the clerks' computer systems are gone.
In violation of Michigan state law, Section 168.811.
Okay. We're going to have to look that one up. Let's see. Michigan say, let's see, SOS. Erase all election data, county clerks. Okay, Michigan Republican Party. Let's see. While Michigan Republican joint parties call for a lot of Secretary of State Giuliani is pushing for the mass deletion of the election. Is pushing for. An amendment of county clerks to the Secretary of State Giuliani told clerks to delete electronic poll book software and associated files despite multiple calls to audit the election. According to a bipartisan request from the Wayne County Board of Canvassers, according to the Michigan Bureau of Elections, this data should not be deleted if a, quote, post-election audit is planned but has not yet been completed. There was none. Secretary Benson's move to request the deletion of election data amidst bipartisan calls for an audit is just another example of putting partisan politics over what's best. Okay, this is Republicans asking for the fact after. Let's see. Here we go. In response to false claims made by the Republican National Committee Chairman Ron McGann, the Michigan Department of State issues the following. Michigan's elections were conducted fairly, effectively, and transparently and are an accurate reflection of Michigan voters. Here you go. Let's see. The erroneous reporting of unofficial results from Antrim County was a result of accidental error on part of the Antrim County clerk. Equipment and software did not malfunction. All ballots were properly tabulated. However, the clerk accidentally did not update the software used to collect voting machine data and report unofficial results. Let's see. It is also completely false that the county had to or will have to hand count all their ballots. Ballots were properly counted by the tabulators. The county had to review the printed tabulator results for each precinct, not each individual ballot. As Detroit officials have stated, hundreds of challengers from both parties were inside their the absent voter counting board all afternoon and evening. Even after some left, there were always challengers from both parties in the room. Dozens of reporters were in the room as well. Software did not cause misallocation of votes as a result of human error. Even when human error counts, it's caught during county canvasses, which it was. Yeah. Again, a fantasy.
Requiring that they be held for 22 months. The Secretary of State directed.
If they're held for 22 months, then they're just going to be in there. And by the way, to what end is deleting software or voter polling books where there have been printed copies of them?
That in Michigan, they delete all of their electronic election records for the 2020 election in violation of Michigan state law.
So they're kept for 22 months by the Secretary of State's office. The counties can't just be passing them out to everyone because to protect the privacy of the vote. Is that what we're assuming? Because nobody there has taken an oath of office to protect the stuff that's in there, any of the people who are working it around it? Is that what we're doing? Is this how it happens every single time? Do we go back and look at the 2016 election and find out that that's exactly what happened in the time scale?
Apparently, they have the records for the 2018 election and for the 2016 election, but they've destroyed the records for the 2020 election. Where I come from, having tried many, many criminal cases, that would be overwhelmingly powerful evidence of guilty knowledge and intent.
Okay, well, let's find out if it's actually there. There's the SOS false claim. Let's see. Did they actually remove it, or did the RNC claim that they did? Let's see. Here's the commentary. The following lists the length of time election records and materials must be retained. It merits note that the retention schedules are separated into two categories: election administration, county records, and city, township, and village records. This listing follows the Michigan General Schedule 23. Unless a new law is changed in the retention period, changes from the General Section 23 are highlighted in yellow. If you don't see anything, okay. Election administration, creation date to 2 years. Transitory correspondence 30 days after receipt. Post-election receipts day after November general election plus 2 years. Certification while serving as an election official. That's the election administration personally. County records. Affidavits of candidacy, this plus 2 years, this plus 6 years. Apportionment from the first election plan is in effect to 11 years. Ballots until 30 days after the canvass so the election is completed or until a recount is completed. That's this part. This is what she's telling them to get rid of. Until 30 days after the canvass, the election is completed, which they did twice. Let's see. Until an investigation of defective ballots or voting equipment is completed. Okay. Campaign statements plus 5 years. Campaign finance statements plus 15 years. Blah, blah, blah. County election results are permanent. County Election Commission meeting materials, permanent. Electronic voting systems. 30 days following the canvass and certification of the election. Nominating and qualifying petitions until January 1st, following the nominating petition. Okay. Poll books until canvass the election is complete, plus 2 years. Their allocation that they're alleging that they were actually asked to be removed is theirs only. I've not seen the actual paperwork put forward by them that she asked for it, the assumption that they're asking for it. But it sounds like to me that that they're talking about the actual ballot, the electronic ballot storage, which are only kept till then, and it was already certified. Recount was completed. There was no Secretary of Order state to suspend destruction. That's what they're talking about. Just for the record. There you go.
On the part of the Democratic administration of the state of Michigan, and which just about conclusively proved that they held an across-the-board fraudulent election. Just be a convenient time to take a short break.
Yeah, wouldn't it be convenient?
My friends, if you want to help...
Oh my God, he's selling gold now. Nope. Oh, this is the right wing for old people. AARP for conservatives.
Time to get back.
Yeah, it is. It is, isn't it? We've only got Jesus.
Now, I know all the big tech is going to jump up and down and say you can't say it, and I don't have to say it, I can show it.
Then show it. Show it. You've stated multiple times that the Secretary of State requested the destruction of these county documents. You've got at least a dozen friendlies in the Michigan county boards that would send you such an order if it was sent. Show it. Where is it?
This is a report. This is a
report from who? Your people. Show the actual letter.
I thought we'd go by the science.
Oh, I see. This is
This is a scientific report.
It's a scientific report, is it?
It's based on the machine. You can
You're pointing at an iPad. It must be true.
Look at the machine yourself. I mean, there's no question the Dominion
There's a lot of questions.
Voting machine can be manipulated and is manipulated.
No, there's a lot of question. There's anything can technically be manipulated given every opportunity to manipulate it. That doesn't mean it is. Just because you want it to be because you lost.
There's not a single bit of human error that's been proven. The Secretary of State engaged in crimes.
Then show the letter where she said it.
In order to destroy the electronic records.
Were the electronic records destroyed? No.
including federal laws. Records that are necessary for federal law were destroyed. These records exist. These records exist in this county for previous elections before 2020.
They still exist now. You just don't have the right to access them.
So why were they destroyed for 2020?
They weren't.
The adjudication records don't exist.
They don't keep a computerized record of which ones the tabulating machine or the verification machines did versus human beings. Those people are there. They were there as witnesses. That's your adjudication receipt.
88% of the votes were switched in this county by error, if it was error.
Well, then that means Biden won it.
81% of the votes were voted by the administrator, and we have no record of it.
81% were voted by the administrator, but we have no record of it. Gibberish.
Some of the ballots were run 3 and 4 times, and we don't have a record of whether it counted 1, 2, or 3 votes.
Sure you do. You know they have UPC symbols on them that match the envelope they came in, the privacy envelope they were retained in, and the actual ballot itself, so that people can check and know if their ballot went through or not. Or if they show up at the polls and they're like, hey, you already tried to vote by mail, that's how they know.
The machine is capable.
Your ballot was counted. You can check online. That's how you know. How do you know that your ballot was counted if it was just separated from the signature envelope? What if it was burned up? What if there was a truck fire? How can the government say to you unequivocally in that app that your vote was counted if there was not some way to track the envelope, the privacy envelope, and the ballot that was within it throughout?
Of counting,
because there is
more than one vote. So
you're right. I think Trump lost Antrim County.
These results in Antrim County cannot be certified. It raises the clear and present danger that the results throughout Michigan cannot be certified.
Yeah, I agree. Any county that Trump supposedly won in Michigan is immediately suspect.
Because Michigan used exactly the same faulty Antrim machines.
The faulty Antrim machines?
The same faulty machines that we used in Antrim County, the Dominion voting systems machines. And then when we go beyond that, we'd have to say security is just non-existent in the Dominion voting system. So that would implicate just about all the other states in which there was rampant fraud. It would implicate the state of Arizona. It would implicate the state of Pennsylvania.
It would implicate any red county that Trump won using a Dominion machine. Clearly, they were messed with.
It would implicate the state of Wisconsin. It would implicate...
The whole state of Wisconsin is completely suspect. I mean, that's been true.
Fulton County, Georgia, where Dominion machines were used.
Oh, my God, Rudy. Jesus.
There's no reason to believe the machines are any more secure there than here. This is the purpose of the machine. The purpose of the machine is to calculate and not count. And in an election, you should be counting, not calculating.
Yeah, it's an important distinction.
And the full extent of this has got to be investigated in order to determine what was the honest, truthful result of the 2020 election.
That Trump actually lost by a greater margin, and that he lost Kentucky and Texas and Florida and Ohio?
Because the one certified.
Why are you cutting to this weird floating thing, and why do you keep licking your lips when you've got a big herp on it?
By those states using this fraudulent voting system are without any doubt false.
With a lot of doubt, yeah. Beyond a reasonable doubt, I would even say.
Cannot have an American election based on a body of fraudulent and false evidence. So...
I mean, you're right. Who do I believe, Rudy? Who? Do I believe the twice and sometimes third times certified votes by millions of voters who, when they signed up to vote, filed something effectively the same as an affidavit as far as an oath to being who they say they are and not fraudulently pretending to be an eligible voter, and all the volunteers and all the people who worked on this, and the secretaries of state and governors in states that are not even all Democrats. And largely the biggest one you have the most problem with seems to be Georgia, where you had one of the most suspect governors as far as election integrity in the history of the country, as far as throwing it to Republicans, not having a secretary of state who would follow him down that path, apparently, as a Republican. I'm supposed to throw all that out because you're pointing at an iPad in a hotel room. This is... Have we seen a single document, folks? Have we? Have you seen a moment where, like on Rachel's show, or even when I bring up stuff and I can show you what the law says about document retention? I can find this shit. Rudy can't find this? Rudy can't put this on screen the same time? Dude's a millionaire. He's a multi-millionaire. What is this? Show something. Show the order, because she would have to send a written order from the Secretary of State to destroy all election-related poll data. Show it. It's got to exist, right? Any of it? Any of it. Some of it. Right? Honest to God.
It's imperative that these machines be examined. They be examined carefully.
What are you going to find, Rudy? What are you going to find? You're going to open up a calculator and see if 2 + 2 = 4?
They certainly be examined in the key places where the questions have arisen, so that we can come to a quick determination.
Yeah, you've already come to your determination. That's the problem everyone has. So you can look at these machines and go, if you added a port to these things and you plugged them up to the internet, you could do anything.
Of just how bad it is. It looks pretty bad. And from the people that I've spoken to who have looked at this machine...
The people you hired to make it look bad?
They say there is...
68%, 81%.
They say there is no doubt. There's no doubt that these machines were programmed for insertion of votes, because from the outside they've been able to do examinations of the vote count as it came in, and they're able to show spikes, and the spikes remain fairly uniformly the same amount for Biden and the same amount for Trump. And then there's the infusion of votes at key points.
You mean when they finished counting mail-in ballots and they tabulated those, and that's where Steve Kornacki goes, we just got a bunch of votes in from this place because dozens of humans were counting the ballots, running them through the machines, producing a tabulation document. That goes into a pile. Someone would take all those tabulation documents when it got too full, feed them into the machine, and then suddenly you'd get 10,000 votes showing up or 100,000 votes showing up on a certain schedule because of the volume they were doing. You mean like that? Literally, the entire argument they are making, both statistically and materially, is that there's never been this many mail-in ballots before, when literally half of the goddamn electorate was voting by mail this time. 95% of votes this time had a paper trail. 95%. It was only 86% in the last election. A shit ton of extra votes came in by mail. That's what this is all about. They're just pissed because people got to vote. Even Trump bitching about, like, people were getting ballots who didn't even want to vote. What the hell is that? Rand Paul is arguing that people were getting unsolicited ballots. People who didn't want to vote are being, like, forced to vote. Their big fear is that going forward, there's going to be a lot more mail-in ballots because people will take advantage of this availability, and the amount of people voting will go up, and over time, that's going to completely capsize the control that the Republican Party has, even over the states that they've counted on.
Beyond the amount that can normally be counted in that period of time. So even before the forensic examination, there's a lot of probable cause that these machines were manipulated. And now that we've been able to do one very in-depth forensic examination.
You just talked about how over the course of this time, there were all these in-person ballots counted. And then after 4 hours at 4:30 in the morning, after midnight, when the machines going at the highest clip went 18 to 20,000 ballots they could count in those, an hour. After 4 hours, oh my God, about 100,000 votes showed up, and adding to them the number of actual in-person ballots that were either absentee or walked in. Jesus.
The actual physical examination bears out the fact that the machine was,
Think of a word.
horribly manipulated.
Horribly manipulated. It was against its own will. It was
To the point where the vote bears no relationship to anything having to do with reality.
Speaking of bearing no relationship to reality, is his tie an elephant trying to have mouth sex with a donkey? Is that what it is? Is this giant red elephant trying to hump a donkey? Is that what we're supposed to see?
Look, our interest, beyond whether it's Donald Trump or Joseph Biden, whether it's the Democratic Party or Republican Party.
Yeah, this is not about party. This is not about this.
This, as far as I know, has never happened in the history of America.
No one has actually tried to manipulate and lie this much, Rudy.
The amount of fraud that's emerged throughout this country
Terrible.
is more than I have ever seen in any election.
Because you're paid to see it now, if you're paid at all. I don't know if you're getting the $20,000 a day, but I certainly hope so.
And it cannot be just pushed aside by the Democrats angrily yelling and screaming.
I'm not angrily yelling and screaming. Do I sound angry? I'm having a great time. I've enjoyed this quite thoroughly. I appreciate being invited into your Washington hotel room in Trump Tower, the post office. Is that where you are? Blocks from the White House. I enjoy, like everyone else, seeing your rotation of Chinese ties and your old. I'm glad that you don't update your iPad just because.
And yelling and screaming.
I wasn't yelling. Was I yelling and screaming? I was yelling. Was I yelling and screaming? I was laughing really hard earlier, but that was at Lin Wood. That wasn't even at you, Rudy.
This report wasn't produced by Democrats. It was produced by
Republican operatives. Yes, it was not produced by Democrats. That's true.
Former military people who know how to examine machines.
Former military people who know how to examine machines. You mean a mechanic? Because that's who his IT expert is, the dude who washed out of the intelligence training at the 305th. Remember that guy? He's an auto mechanic. But tell me more about machines.
This machine is a fraudulent machine.
Yeah.
It produced a fraudulent vote.
Wait, the machine is a fraudulent machine that produced a fraudulent vote? So you're saying that Trump didn't win Antrim County?
Not just very similar to the tape that we see in Atlanta, Georgia, of the ballots being stuffed.
There was no ballots being stuffed. You mean the tabulation?
When everybody's thrown out of the room.
Nobody was thrown out of the room.
Cannot be ignored.
No, I'm not ignoring it. I show the whole goddamn thing. You're boring the shit out of me, Rudy, with the same goddamn thing over and over again.
Should not be ignored.
I'm not ignoring it. You can never accuse me of ignoring this nonsense. As much as I want to doze off.
The right to vote in our country is too precious.
I agree. To let someone like you fuck with it.
To let it be destroyed. The way the media, big tech.
Is this just going to be like a new tick? The media, big tech, and the crooked Democrats?
And the crooked elements in the Democratic Party.
The crooked elements? Oh, that's very generous.
They're destroying it now. We've got to fight back. We've got to reclaim our right of free speech.
Yeah, do it, Rudy. Reclaim your right of free speech on your YouTube show that you're allowed to post uninterrupted.
Freedom of religion.
What religion would that be? Seriously, because you've got Eyes Wide Shut Party written all over you.
Right to a free and fair vote. Thank you.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. Jesus Christ, was that a waste of goddamn time? This was just supposed to get specific. We were supposed to get specific, people. We were going to focus this time. Holy shit, that's tiresome. I apologize for tonight's show. That in and of itself. But this. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. I think we may have found the Newsmax. Yeah, there we go.
Various guests, attorneys.
Hold on. So here, let's see if we can find this. So, Newsmax legally had to air this.
Attorneys and elected officials have appeared on Newsmax and offered opinions and claims about Smartmatic and Dominion Systems, both companies that offer voting software in the U.S. And Newsmax would like to clarify its news coverage and note that it has not reported as true certain claims made about these companies.
We've had a shit ton of people come on and do that for us. And by the way, he's clearly doing the Rudy Giuliani lip lick.
There are several facts our viewers and readers should be aware of.
All right, let's hear them.
Newsmax has found no evidence that either Dominion or Smartmatic owns the other or has any business association with each other. We have no evidence that Dominion uses Smartmatic software or vice versa. No evidence has been offered that Dominion or Smartmatic used software or reprogrammed software that manipulated votes in the 2020 election. Smartmatic has stated that its software was only used in the 2020 election in Los Angeles, was not used in any battleground state contested by the Trump campaign.
That's true.
Newsmax has no evidence to the contrary. Dominion has stated the company has no ownership relationship with the Pelosi family, the Feinstein family, the Clinton family, Hugo Chavez, or the government of Venezuela.
Ouch, Rudy.
Neither Dominion nor Smartmatic has any relationship with George Soros. Smartmatic,
Super Jew, judge of all the darkness on the planet Earth. It's the Jew behind the Jewiness Jew.
Is a U.S. company and not owned by the Venezuelan government, Hugo Chavez, or any foreign official or entity. Smartmatic states that it has no operations in Venezuela. While the company did election projects in Venezuela from 2004 to 2017, it was never founded by Hugo Chavez, nor did it have a corrupt relationship with him or the Venezuelan government. For more on this, please go to our website at newsmax.com. Read facts about Dominion Smartmatic that you should know.
Gee, that's a hard rap on that, Rudy. I mean, that's the idea that you kind of have to. That's got to be depressing. End up getting kicked off. That's just rude. Let's see. And then they had to, because of the legal issues here. And by the way, if you want to know what the quality of the programming that you can get on Newsmax, Sebastian Gorka's a host. So, I mean, what more? Yeah. Here you go. Last little bit. We'll finish on this. This Mike Pillow, in an undisclosed location.
I believe in this president, and I'll tell you what, nobody realizes. I mean, what a miracle we had on election night.
Yeah, a miracle we had on election night. Tell us what the miracle was. It was an election miracle.
11:15. You know, you talked about all this fraud, Doctor. The biggest fraud is the Dominion machines.
Oops.
And at 11:15 on election night, our great president, because of everything
Mike, I don't want to discuss, Mike, we're not going to get into the minutiae of the details. I want to ask you, because this show...
Don't bring up Dominion machines, because we're going to get sued.
...is about courage. It's
right.
hosted by a guy who's a former Marine. I want to know why you, Mike Lindell, are supporting the president in these legal cases.
Well, because everything's on the line here.
Everything's on the line here, guys. We still got a shot. The amount of people who are selling this idea that there's still a chance is just embarrassing. And there's tons of them. When I go over the stuff that I'm going to talk about on the show, or try to, I've been increasingly trying to like find all these, like, where does this messaging come from that seems to seep its way into Trump's, brain hole. And it doesn't all start at Lou Dobbs. Lou Dobbs is the guy who actually, he and Maria Bartiromo are the people who like floated up to the legitimate level. But it starts on these stupid little sideline OAN shows and all the wannabe shows that pin off of that. And so as I'm looking at each of these and trying to, see which ones, get presented as reality after this, you can watch Lou Dobbs like pick up on one of these like hint of a story about a month ago and then start running with it for 2 weeks. And then the legal folks at Fox News, after getting this letter, going, hey, cut it off, stop. And now that's happening at Newsmax. We'll see if it happens on OAN, but that's kind of extraordinary that Newsmax itself not only did their own, because the one that Maria Bartiromo and Judge Janine and Lou Dobbs and everybody aired was a prepackaged little bullshit infotainment chunk that had nothing, they didn't say it. They didn't have a mea culpa. The individual hosts, they played a piece at the end, like a retraction. The Newsmax people, that was they had one of their own dudes do that live. I mean, that's kind of incredible. I went way over tonight anyways. I adore you guys. Have a wonderful Monday night. Thanks for hanging around. Appreciate it. I will see you guys tomorrow at the regular time. Merry Christmas to everybody who's has that the Friday's coming up. It'll be here before you know it. I adore you guys. Have a safe holiday and stay the fuck home. We'll pick away at each of these. I have no doubt that there's going to be an increased quickening of Trump's nonsense over the next little bit. But my estimation is he stays completely hidden until the certification on the 5th. He comes out of hiding a little bit on the 6th to shout about things. Then there's this back and forth about the gnarly stuff he's going to try and the race to pardon himself and try to get an airport named after him before he leaves office. And then on the 21st, he'll make a lot of noise after after it's all over on his own little like launch of a network and all that kind of stuff. And then over 3 months, he will fade into obscurity because no one will want to hear from him anymore, much less him. And they'll try and launch some sort of bullshit, patriotic apprentice where he's going to pick the next presidential candidate on the Republican side. Watch for that on his network or on OAN or one of these other things. But it's not going to amount to anything. Honest to God. So I adore you guys. Have a great night. I will see you later. Thanks to those of you who watched the Best of Sexy Liberal this weekend. I wish there was more of me in it too. But I don't cut the thing. I just kind of deliver my stuff and hope for the best. But I will be posting my little 'Twas the Night Before bit on for everybody else probably later tonight. So watch out for that on my own YouTube channel. And I appreciate you guys. And I will see you guys very soon. And take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. And I'm going to go back to rewiring my studio so that and hopefully my other headphones will arrive so I don't have to be plugged in all the time. Oh, God, help me. All right. Talk to you later, guys. Be well. Thank you guys so much for the support. I adore you. I'll see you tomorrow.